many years ago, I pitched the idea of a series called American Noir, where I would go around the country. You know, crime writers sort of own a city in the United States. Mike Connolly has L.A., Elmore Leonard had Detroit, um, James Lee Burke had Louisiana, and so on. And I had D.C. I mean, we all plant our flag somewhere. And my idea was to use all these writers around the country to write their own stories, and we'd film them. But that thing went by the wayside. I pitched it to deafening silence, and you know, at the time, nobody was doing anthologies. This was before the resurgence of the Twilight Zone and all these things that are out now. What's interesting about Washington, what's always been interesting, is the racial dynamic. The city was 80% black when I was growing up, Chocolate City, famously, right in the shadow of the Capitol. And we don't have rights. We don't have voting rights. It's actually unconstitutional that we pay taxes and we don't have voting rights. We don't have representation in the House or the Senate. And the people feel disenfranchised, but they endure. Right now in Washington, you know, there's all this hysteria nationwide about Trump, but the people in Washington don't kind of just keep going to work every day because they know that ill wind will pass through, and there'll be somebody else there that also doesn't affect them in any way. There's a lot going on there to talk about.
George has been like a mentor for a long time. We obviously started working on the Wire together. That whole creative team has been super supportive of my career and of my art. So it's been a great journey with them, and also seeing them grow as producers and writers in the projects that they've diversified into. And so George wanted to take some of the novellas and put them into this short form, put into a feature anthology. And I begged for an opportunity to shoot one, to direct one, and he took a chance on me, and I'm fortunate. He's very nurturing of talent, so he's been awesome to work with for a long time.
We employed 60 interns who were film students, and I know from my experience, I was a film major at the University of Maryland, that once I got out of there, I was useless. I didn't know what to do, because if I had walked onto a film set, I wouldn't have known the first thing about it. And you need to give, I think it's important to give people a little help there, because now some of those young people have gotten jobs off of the credit they got on our film.
The DC Noir consists of 4 shorts, directed by people who have ties to the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and they also happen to be people I've known for a long time. So it helped that we all had this kind of common language. It helped that we also had this common goal of wanting to highlight filmmaking in DC. And it's been something that George has been championing for years. Because to me, directing is just like another paintbrush as far as like to make cool things with, tell stories with. Acting is one of them. I have a furniture line, and Eaton Vintage, that's one of them. So they're just different forms of storytelling.